Just can't win sometimes when it comes to K-12 education. We've got another K-12 story here. This is a publicly chartered special needs school in Wisconsin called Lighthouse Learning Academies. And so if you listen to what this model of education is, it sounds so wonderful. I've got Lauren Greuel from Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty on the program. Doesn't the model sound superb? It's a special needs targeted charter school in Wisconsin, chartered out of Two Rivers. Anyone can go as long as there's space. Parents get to choose the curriculum content in many respects. They can guide their kids, right? Doesn't that sound wonderful?
It is exactly the type of education experimentation we want to see in Wisconsin, right? To really ensure that parents are getting the interaction in their child's education that so many parents are craving. Okay. So the model itself should be something that we're all really proud of in Wisconsin, that promotes education innovation for parents and for students.
So what's going on that what looks to be like a model charter school now has to receive letters from the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty for denying parents their religious freedom? What's going on?
Yeah, so we had a parent reach out to us because she chose to enroll her child in this school primarily because of the education and innovation that we've already been talking about, and the primary parental involvement that the school allows her to have in her child's education. So she saw this model, she wanted to participate in it, she enrolled her child in the school. And one of the things that the school encourages parents to do is to choose the curriculum to best fit their child's needs. And the school then will purchase that curriculum and put the child on a learning plan that the school will facilitate, and the parent will administer to the child at home. It is a virtual charter school. So all the parents that are enrolled in the district are able to choose curriculum and instructional materials that best fit the needs of their child. And after evaluating many different types of curriculum, the parent that reached out to us decided that she wanted to use, in part, simply Charlotte Mason, which is an award-winning publishing company that produces curriculum on a whole host of topics. And it's used in homeschooling and charter schools across the country. And the school ultimately denied our parents these instructional materials and curriculum, not because they are Christian in and of themselves, but because the publisher bases this curriculum on the philosophies of a Christian educator. In fact, two of the materials that she requested from the Simply Charlotte Mason publishing company, the math series and the Shakespeare study series, do not contain any Christian references whatsoever. And we
but the person, but let's make this point again. The person who developed the Simply Charlotte curriculum was basing the development of it on a Christian model, even though the materials are not Christian in and of themselves.
Right, exactly
Okay.
right. They're basing the curriculum on the philosophies of a Christian educator, Charlotte Mason. So this isn't even like, now I will say Simply Charlotte Mason, the Simply Charlotte Mason publishing company does have religious studies, but that's not what this parent is requesting in this instance. She's requesting their math series because she evaluated a whole bunch of different curriculum options and determined that that was the best curriculum that fits the needs of her child, which is what the school encourages them to do. But the school said no because they come from a publishing company that's based on the philosophy of education.
So this is not a private school. This is a publicly chartered school. So this is through Two Rivers School District. Anyone, by the way, in Wisconsin can go because it's a virtual school. So it's acting in many respects as kind of homeschool support almost. But no, sorry, the person who is behind this philosophy had a Christian philosophy of teaching. So sorry, no. What if she did want just overtly Christian stuff? Who cares? Who cares?
Right. Well, that's exactly part of the issue here, is that even if it was inherently Christian, and let's say she wanted the hymn studies from Simply Charlotte Mason, it's curriculum that will only be used on her child. She's not asking the school to teach every single child in the virtual charter school these things. She's selecting it from her own, for her own child. And so, in this particular instance, there's no issue with any establishment clause or anything like that, because while this is an instrumentality charter school, just meaning that Two Rivers is authorizing the charter school, it's just for her own child. So that circuit between the public school or the charter school and the establishment of a religion is broken by the parent's choice. Yep. And we see this again and again and again at the Supreme Court level, not just in Wisconsin, but the United States Supreme Court as well. They have said over and over and over that if there is a public benefit that's provided to multiple parents or all these parents, or in some certain circumstances, even churches or something like that, the public benefit can't be denied just because it is religious or maybe used for religious reasons. So just to kind of rephrase that, public benefits may not be denied merely because they will be put to a religious use. That's something our courts have said over and over and over again. So this is just a really prime example of, one, discrimination, because the school is purposely denying materials that are coming from a company that bases its curriculum on the philosophies of a Christian educator. Two, it's a free exercise problem, right? They're denying this parent the right that she has to direct the upbringing of her child and raise her child in the way that she sees fit. And most importantly, I think, to some of the schools' pushback that we've seen so far, this isn't an establishment clause problem.
So that sounds like an excuse. I mean, they've got to have, look, it's chartered under the Two Rivers District. They're probably using Two Rivers attorneys. So they have to know this. So that makes me wonder, what is the motivation here? Who's making the call on this? Because it just doesn't even pass a smell test. Again, these are public schools. We're not talking about, private schools here. This parent has chosen a public charter school, probably because tuition to a private school is not something she can swing right now. And homeschooling is probably not something I'm guessing she can swing either, or she'd do it. So, that just the establishment. I mean, you're like, hi, I'm an attorney. This one's a real easy one. We're going to walk you through this. It's going to take us 3 sentences. And that should be that. Why are they fighting this? Is DPI fighting it for them?
Well, and that, I think, is really perhaps the root of the issue here. There is guidance out on DPI's website that talk about how charter schools cannot have any religious curriculum or instructional materials whatsoever. And in some of the back and forth we've seen so far between the school and the parent, that's something that the school points to as like, hey, look, we're being told that we can't use this type of curriculum. It's not us saying no necessarily.
DPI.
So
I had a feeling.
Keep an eye on. Yeah, it all comes back to the same culprits, doesn't it?
Okay, so DPI. So at the end of the road here, we've got DPI with illegal advice that is just simply untrue. What DPI is up there, and so I guess what I'm wondering with the resolution, because I'd certainly love to see this resolution make it so that DPI cannot scare other charter schools. Everything about this suggests to me that you've got people who are kind of, they're not necessarily happy about denying this mom, that the DPI guidance is what they fear more than they fear this mom.
That's certainly possible. We haven't received an official response to our letter yet, so we'll see what position the school takes coming up here. But it is certainly possible that it is entirely because of DPI's flawed guidance that they feel this way, and that other charter schools in Wisconsin feel this way. And ultimately the resolution that we're hoping for is that this parent is able to choose the curriculum that best fits the needs of her child, just like every other parent in this virtual charter school is able to do. It's simply because it's religious that they're not allowing it, and that's Christian discrimination. And it's something that this aversion to any type of religion or Christianity in general is something that we see over and over and over again, and it's unconstitutional and illegal.
Oh, and you've got a school in Milwaukee that is a charter school. I think it's a SADA. And if you go take a look at what their operating philosophy is, it's based on some African religion. I mean, their operating philosophy is based on a religion. So this is nonsense, basically what I'm saying. If this were, if this were any other religion, perhaps, exempting Judaism, because the teachers union's no fan of that. I wonder if you'd get any pushback at all. And that's the thing. You can't really test that. But look, the whole reason to do these charter schools and to have this kind of flexibility is so that parents who are going to be like 90% of the time the ones responsible for making sure the lessons are absorbed by the kids, not the teachers, for making the parents interested in being part of their kids' education. It's a wonderful model to use to that end.
It certainly is. And Vicki, you and I have talked on your show about the abysmal results that we're seeing in public schools.
Yeah.
So this type of experimentation and options for parents to be able to send their child somewhere else that works better for them instead of this one-size-fits-all public school model is so, so important in Wisconsin. We just saw in June of this year, the United States Supreme Court in a case called Mahmoud versus Taylor say that the insinuation that religious parents shouldn't be able to utilize public schools like charter schools or traditional public schools is odious to the Constitution, because we are talking about a school here, a charter school here, that adheres to a lot of the same laws that public schools do. And they're discriminating against a Christian family.
Yeah, it's odious, by the way, and it's odious, like the Supreme Court said. Lauren, thank you very much for joining me on the program. I hope a positive resolution is in the offing here, and I certainly hope it also includes DPI being forced to take down that illegal guidance. Thank you very much for joining me on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me, Vicki.